The trading station called Helix 9 floated in the darkness of space like a giant metal flower. Ships came and went at all hours. Aliens of every shape and size walked through its wide hallways. Some had scales. Some had feathers. Some looked like nothing Park Taiho had ever seen before. Taiho was a cargo handler. He moved boxes from ships to warehouses and from warehouses to ships. It was simple work. It was hard work, but it paid enough to send money home to Earth and to help his younger sister, Yuna, who worked as a translator on a station nearby. He was 34 years old. He had a plain face, short black hair, and hands rough from years of lifting heavy things. He did not talk much. He did not make friends easily. Most days, he woke up, went to work, ate alone, and went to sleep. That was his life. He was okay with it. On the night, everything changed. Taiho was walking home through the merchant district. The lights were bright and colorful. Vendors shouted about their goods. The smell of strange alien food filled the air. Taiho was tired. His back hurt. He wanted only to reach his small room and rest. Then he heard the crying dot. It was a child's cry. High and frightened, Taiho stopped walking. He looked around. Most of the aliens near him kept moving. They pretended not to hear. Taiho knew that sound. He had heard it before, long ago, when he was young and scared and nobody came to help. He followed the crying dot in a narrow alley between two shops. He found them. 3 Veltari stood in a half circle. They were big, very big. Their skin was covered in dark green scales. Their eyes were yellow and cold. Their hands ended in claws that could cut through metal. The Veltari were known across the galaxy. They were violent. They were cruel. They took what they wanted. Most species avoided them. On the ground before the 3 Veltari was a small child. She was Irani. Her skin was pale blue and seemed to glow softly from inside. Her body looked fragile, like it was made of glass. She was crying. Her small hands covered her face. One of the Veltari was speaking. His voice was rough and angry. Your family owes us a passage tax. Pay now, or we take payment in other ways. The child shook her head. I do not have money. Please, I am lost. I just want to find my mother. The Veltari laughed. It was an ugly sound. Then you will pay with pain. Maybe your family will learn to respect us. He raised his clawed fist. Taiho did not think. His body moved before his mind could catch up. He stepped into the alley. He walked past the other 2 Veltari. He put himself between the raised fist and the crying child. He spread his arms wide. Stop, he said. The Veltari looked at him. For a moment, nobody moved. Then the lead Veltari laughed again. This time, the sound was darker. A human, he said. A small, soft human. Do you know what I am going to do to you? I know, Taiho said. His voice was calm. He was surprised by how calm he sounded. His heart was beating fast. His hands were shaking a little, but his voice did not shake. But you are not going to touch this child. The Veltari's eyes narrowed. Move, human. This is not your business. She's a child, Taiho said. That makes it my business. The first blow came fast. The Veltari's fist hit Taiho in the chest. He heard something crack. Pain exploded through his body. He fell back a step, but did not fall down. He stayed between the Veltari and the child. The second blow hit his face. His lips split open. Blood filled his mouth. He spit it out and stayed standing. Move! The Veltari shouted. Taiho shook his head. The third blow hit his stomach. The fourth hit his shoulder. Taiho dropped to one knee. The child behind him was screaming now. She was screaming for help. But nobody came. The merchants pretended not to see. The other aliens walked faster past the alley entrance. The fifth blow hit the side of Taiho's head. His vision went white. He tasted more blood. He could barely hear, but he got back up. He stood on shaking legs. He spread his arms again. Why? The Valkyrie demanded. His voice sounded confused now. Angry, but also confused. Why do you not run? You cannot win. You are weak. You are nothing. Taiho looked at him. One of his eyes was swelling shut. Blood ran down his chin. He smiled. It was a terrible smile, full of blood and pain. Because she is just a kid, he said. And I will not let you hurt her. The sixth blow broke something in his side. The seventh hit his back. Taiho fell to his hands and knees. He could not breathe right. Every breath was fire. But he turned and covered the child with his body. He wrapped his arms around her small, trembling form. He became a shield of flesh and bone. The eighth blow was a kick. It hit his spine. The pain was beyond words. Taiho felt his body stop working. His legs went numb. He collapsed on top of the child, still holding her, still protecting her with the last strength he had. He heard shouting. It sounded far away. Station security, finally arriving. Too late, he thought. Or maybe just in time. The child was still alive. She was still safe beneath him. That was enough. The Valkyrie were running. The security officers were chasing them. Someone was kneeling beside Taiho. Someone was saying his name. But he could not answer. The world was going dark. The last thing he felt was the child's small hand holding his. The last thing he heard was her voice, small and scared but alive. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you. Then there was only darkness. Taiho did not know that the child he saved was named Lumi. He did not know that she was the daughter of the Irani High Ambassador, one of the most important people in the galaxy. He did not know that his actions had been recorded by a dozen hidden cameras. He did not know that the video was already spreading across the station, then across the sector, then across the stars. He did not know that he was about to become a legend. All he knew, in that last moment before he lost consciousness, was that a child was safe. A child who had been crying was now holding his hand. A child who had been alone was no longer alone. For Park Taiho, that was enough. That was everything. The blood pooled beneath him. His heart beat slower and slower. But he was smiling. It was a small smile, barely visible beneath the blood and bruises. But it was real. He had done something good. Whatever came next, nobody could take that away from him. Taiho woke up slowly. It was like swimming up from deep water. Everything was dark, then gray, then light. His body felt strange, heavy and light at the same time. There was no pain. That surprised him. He remembered pain. So much pain. He opened his eyes. The ceiling above him was silver and smooth. Soft blue lights glowed along the edges. The air smelled clean, like nothing he had ever smelled before. He was lying on a bed that seemed to hold him perfectly. It was not like any hospital bed he had ever seen. Where am I? He thought. He tried to sit up. His body obeyed, but slowly. He looked down at himself. His chest was wrapped in some kind of thin material that glowed faintly. He touched his face. The cuts were gone. The swelling was gone. Only faint lines remained where the wounds had been. This was not Station Medical. Station Medical had old beds and tired doctors and equipment that broke every other day. This was something else. Something far more advanced than he saw them. 7 figures stood at the foot of his bed. They were tall. Very tall. Each one was at least 2 meters. Their bodies were covered in dark armor that seemed to absorb the light. Their faces were hard and sharp, with skin the color of stone. Their eyes glowed faintly, like embers in a dying fire. Taiho knew what they were. Everyone in the galaxy knew what they were. KOR8. The Korath were the greatest warriors in known space. Their empire covered 3 star systems. Their soldiers had never lost a war. They trained from birth to fight and die with honor. Other species told stories about them to scare their children, and 7 of them were standing in his room. Looking at him, Taiho's heart began to beat faster. He was not afraid of much, but he was afraid now. What did the Korath want with him? Had he done something wrong? Was he going to die? The one in front stepped forward. It was a female, he realized. Her armor was decorated with marks that might have been battle honors. A long scar ran down the left side of her face. Her eyes, burning gold, fixed on him with an intensity that made him want to look away. But he did not look away. He met her gaze and waited. "You are part Taiho," she said. Her voice was deep and strong. "Human, cargo handler, the one who took 8 blows." Taiho blinked. Yes, that is my name. I am Vera," she said, "commander of the 7th Shield. We have been waiting for you to wake." Waiting for him? Taiho's mind spun. He tried to make sense of this. Why would Korath warriors wait for a cargo handler to wake up? Then he remembered. "The child," he said. He tried to get out of bed. The Irani child. Is she safe? Is she hurt? Where is she? Something changed in Vera's face. It was small, just a tiny shift. But Taiho saw it. Was that respect? It could not be. He must have imagined it. "The child is safe," Vera said. "She was returned to her family. She has no injuries. Because of you." Taiho let out a breath he did not know he was holding. He leaned back against the bed. Relief washed over him like warm water. She was okay. The little girl with the glowing blue skin was okay. "Good," he said softly. "That is good." Vera watched him for a long moment. The other Korath watched him too. Taiho felt like an insect under a bright light. He did not understand why they were looking at him like that. "You stood against 3 Velthari," Vera said. "You are human. Your bones are fragile. Your skin is soft. You have no claws, no armor, no weapons." Taiho nodded slowly. "That is true. You knew you could not win. Yes, you knew they would hurt you. Perhaps kill you. Yes." Vera's golden eyes burned brighter. "Then why did you not run?" Taiho thought about the question. He thought about the crying child. He thought about her small hands covering her face. He thought about his own childhood, about being small and scared and alone. "Because she was just a kid," he said. It was the same answer he had given the Velthari. It was the only answer he had. She was scared and alone, and someone was going to hurt her. I could not walk away from that. I would not walk away from that. Vera turned to look at the other Korath. Something passed between them. Taiho could not read their expressions, but he felt something change in the room. The air felt different. Heavier somehow. Vera turned back to him. And then she did something that made Taiho's blood go cold. She bowed her head. The other 6 Korath bowed their heads too. "In our culture," Vera said. Her head still lowered. "There is a concept called Vethinur. It means the sacred shield. It is the act of protecting the weak when you know you cannot win. When you know you will suffer. When you know you might die. It is the highest honor a warrior can achieve." She raised her head and looked at him again. "No Korath has performed Vethinur in 200 cycles. Our warriors have become proud. They fight to win, not to protect. They have forgotten the true meaning of strength." Taiho shook his head. "I am not a warrior. I am just a cargo handler. I move boxes for a living. You took 8 blows for a child who was not your species. Not your family. Not your responsibility." Vera's voice was hard. You stood when you should have fallen. You protected when you should have run. That is what a warrior is. That is what a warrior does." The other Korath raised their heads. They looked at Taiho with something in their eyes that he could not name. It looked almost like wonder. "A human," one of them said softly. "A human has shown us what we have forgotten." Taiho did not know what to say. This was too big, too strange. He was just a man. Just a tired man who moved boxes and sent money home and lived a small, quiet life. He was not a hero. He was not a warrior. He was just someone who could not watch a child get hurt. "The child you saved," Vera said. "Her name is Lumi. She is the daughter of the Irani High Ambassador. She is very important." Taiho's eyes went wide. "I did not know that." "We know. That makes what you did even more meaningful. You did not save her for reward. You did not save her for politics. You saved her because it was right." Vera stepped closer to the bed. She reached out and put her hand on Taiho's shoulder. Her grip was strong but gentle. "You are under our protection now, Park Taiho. The Korath do not forget. We do not abandon those who show true honor. Whatever comes next, you will not face it alone." Taiho looked up at her. He did not understand everything that was happening, but he understood one thing. His life would never be the same. "What comes next?" he asked. Vera's expression darkened. The Valkyrie who attacked Lumi belonged to a powerful group. They will want revenge. They will want you dead. Taiho nodded slowly. He was not surprised. He had known there would be consequences. There were always consequences. "Then I will face them," he said quietly. Vera smiled. It was a fierce smile, full of teeth and fire. "Yes," she said. "You will. And we will be with you." The days after Taiho woke up were strange and confusing. He was moved from the Korath medical bay to a guest room in the Irani diplomatic section. The room was bigger than his entire apartment back on the lower decks. The walls were made of something that looked like crystal. Soft light came from everywhere and nowhere. He did not feel like he belonged here. Visitors came every day. Irani officials with their glowing blue skin and gentle voices. They brought gifts. They brought documents. They spoke of rewards and honors that Taiho did not understand. "We wish to grant you citizenship," one of them said. He was tall and thin, with eyes like pools of starlight. "You would live in our crystal cities. You would never work again. We owe you a debt that can never be repaid." Taiho shook his head. "I do not need citizenship. I do not need rewards. I just did what anyone should do." The Irani looked at him with something like sadness. "That is the problem, Park Taiho. Anyone should. But almost no one does." Lumi came to see him too. She was small and shy, hiding behind her mother's flowing robes. But when she saw Taiho, she ran to him. She wrapped her thin arms around his waist and held on tight. "Thank you," she said. Her voice was like music, like tiny bells ringing. "Thank you for saving me." Taiho knelt down so he could look at her face. She was so young, so fragile. He could still see the fear in her eyes, the memory of those terrible moments in the alley. "You are safe now," he told her. "Nobody is going to hurt you again." Lumi nodded. Then she gave him something. It was a small crystal, no bigger than his thumb. It glowed with soft blue light. "This is my lucky stone," she said. "My grandmother gave it to me. I want you to have it." Taiho tried to give it back. "I cannot take this. It is yours." But Lumi shook her head firmly. "You protected me. Now it will protect you. Please." Looking into her wide, hopeful eyes, Taiho could not say no. He closed his fingers around the crystal and felt its warmth against his palm. "Thank you, Lumi," he said. "I will keep it safe." She smiled, and for a moment, all the darkness of the past days seemed far away. But the darkness was not gone. It was only waiting. On the 5th day, Taiho's sister arrived. Park Yuna was 29 years old. She had their mother's face and their father's temper. When she walked into Taiho's room, her eyes were red from crying. "You stupid man," she said. Then she hugged him so hard he could not breathe. "You stupid man." "I am okay," Taiho said softly. He patted her back like he used to do when they were children. "I am still here." Yuna pulled back and looked at him. "You almost died. The doctor said your spine was broken. They said you might never walk again. If the Korath had not brought you to their medical bay, but they did." Taiho smiled gently. "And I am fine now." "Better than fine." Yuna shook her head. Tears were falling down her cheeks again. "Why? Why did you do it?" She was a stranger, an alien. She was not your responsibility. Taiho thought about how to explain. He thought about their childhood, about the nights when they were hungry and scared, about the people who walked past them without stopping. "Do you remember when we were young?" he asked. "When we lived on the streets after mother and father died?" Yuna's face changed. The anger faded. Old pain took its place. "Yes," she whispered. "Do you remember how it felt? To be small and scared and alone? To cry for help while everyone walked past?" Yuna nodded. She could not speak. "When I saw that little girl in the alley," Taiho said, "I saw us. I saw you. I saw every child who ever cried while the world looked away. I could not be one of the people who walks past. I would rather die than be that person." Yuna was silent for a long moment. Then she sighed and sat down next to him. "I understand," she said quietly. "I do not like it, but I understand." They sat together in comfortable silence. Outside the crystal walls, ships moved through the darkness of space. The station hummed with life. For a moment, everything felt almost normal. Then Vera came with the news. She entered without knocking. Her face was hard and grim. Yuna stood up quickly, her hand reaching for a weapon she did not have. Even Taiho felt fear touch his heart. "What is wrong?" he asked. Vera looked at him. "The Velthari Syndicate has made their move. They have issued a blood challenge." Taiho did not know what that meant. But from the way Yuna's face went pale, he knew it was bad. "What is a blood challenge?" he asked. "An ancient tradition," Vera explained. "One that even we Korath must respect. They are demanding that you face their champion in single combat. The fight is to the death." Taiho felt cold. "And if I refuse, then they have the right to hunt you, to kill you wherever they find you, and to kill anyone who helped you or protected you." Vera's eyes moved to Yuna, including your sister. Yuna grabbed Taiho's arm. "We can run. We can hide. There are places even the Velthari cannot find us." But Taiho shook his head slowly. He looked down at his hands. The hands of a cargo worker. The hands of a man who moved boxes for a living. "If I run," he said, "they will never stop hunting. They will go after anyone who was kind to me. The doctors who treated me. The Orani who gave me this room. You." He looked at his sister with sad eyes. "I will not let others suffer for my choice. Then you will die." Yuna shouted. "Their champion is a monster. He has killed 40 opponents in the arena. You have no training, no skills. You are just a cargo worker," Taiho finished. He smiled at her. "I know." He turned to Vera. The Korath warrior was watching him with those burning golden eyes. "I accept the challenge," he said. Vera nodded slowly. There was no surprise on her face. Perhaps she had known what he would say before he said it. "The fight is in 3 weeks," she said. "That is not much time. It will have to be enough. Yuna was crying again. She was angry and scared and heartbroken. Taiho pulled her close and held her. "I am sorry," he whispered. "But I have to do this. You know, I have to do this." Yuna did not answer. She just held him and cried. That night, after Yuna had gone to rest, Vera came to see Taiho again. She stood in the doorway of his room, her armor glowing faintly in the dim light. "You will die in that arena," she said. "You know this, probably," Taiho agreed. "Their champion is named Gruul. He is 3 meters tall. His scales are thick as armor. His claws can cut through steel. He has never lost a fight." "I know." Vera stepped into the room. She looked at him for a long moment. Then she knelt before him, just as she had in the medical bay. "I will train you," she said. "I cannot make you a warrior in 3 weeks, but I can give you a chance. A small chance. It is all I have to offer." Taiho looked down at her. A Korath commander, one of the most feared warriors in the galaxy, kneeling before him, offering to help him. "Why?" he asked. Vera raised her head. "Because you showed us what we had forgotten. Because you reminded us what honor truly means. And because—" She paused. "Because I do not want to see such a spirit die without a fight." Taiho reached out and took her hand. Her skin was rough and warm, like sun-heated stone. "Then teach me," he said. "Teach me everything you can." Vera smiled her fierce, fire-filled smile. "We begin at dawn. Do not expect mercy." "I do not want mercy," Taiho said. "I want to survive. I want to protect my sister. I want to make sure Lumi never has to be afraid of those monsters again." Vera's smile widened. "Good. That is good. Hold on to that feeling, Park Taiho. It will keep you alive when nothing else can." The training began before the sun rose over the station's artificial horizon. Taiho stood in a combat ring in the Korath section of Helix 9. The floor was hard metal. The walls were covered with weapons he did not know how to use. The air smelled like sweat and blood. Vera stood across from him. She had removed her armor. Beneath it, she wore simple training clothes. Her body was covered in scars. Each one told a story of a battle survived. "First lesson," she said. "Pain." She hit him. Taiho did not even see her move. One moment she was standing still. The next moment he was on the ground, his jaw aching, stars dancing in his eyes. "Get up," Vera said. He got up. She hit him again. This time he saw it coming. He tried to block. It did not matter. He was on the ground again, his arms burning from the impact. "Get up." He got up. She hit him again. This continued for an hour. Taiho lost count of how many times he fell. His body screamed for rest. His muscles begged for mercy. But every time Vera said, "Get up," he got up. Finally, she stopped. She looked at him with those burning golden eyes. Taiho was covered in sweat and bruises. He could barely stand. But he was standing. "Good," Vera said. "You do not stay down." That is the first lesson. Pain is not your enemy. Giving up is your enemy. Remember that. The next weeks were the hardest of Taiho's life. Every morning, he woke before dawn. He ran until his legs felt like they were made of fire. He lifted weights until his arms shook. He practiced fighting stances until his body memorized them without thinking. Vera was a hard teacher. She did not smile. She did not give praise. When Taiho made a mistake, she showed him the right way by hurting him. When he fell, she told him to get up. When he said he could not continue, she hit him until he found the strength to continue anyway. "Gruul will not give you breaks," she would say. "Gruul will not care if you are tired. The only rest in the arena is death." Other Korath warriors began to watch the training sessions. At first, They came out of curiosity. A human being trained by a Korath commander was strange and unusual. They expected to laugh at his weakness, but they did not laugh. They watched Taiho fall again and again. They watched him get up again and again. They watched him push his body past every limit, break every wall, find strength where there should have been nothing left. He should have quit by now, one warrior said to another. Any sane creature would have quit. Perhaps humans are not sane, the other replied. By the second week, the watching warriors had stopped talking. They just stood in silence and observed. Something in their eyes had changed. It looked almost like respect. Old Kim Do-won, the human doctor from the station's medical center, came to check on Taiho. The doctor was 70 years old, with white hair and worried eyes. He had treated Taiho after small injuries before, back when Taiho was just a cargo worker. Your body cannot take this, Do-hwan said. He was looking at the readings on his medical scanner. Your muscles are tearing faster than they can heal. Your bones are developing stress fractures. If you continue like this, you will break before the fight even begins. Taiho nodded. He was lying on a medical bed, too exhausted to move. Every part of him hurt. I know, he said. Then stop, Do-hwan said. Find another way. Run. Hide. Let the Korath fight for you. I cannot. Taiho closed his eyes. If I run, Yuna will never be safe. The Irani girl will never be safe. Everyone who helped me will be a target. I have to end this. Me. No one else. Do-hwan was quiet for a long moment. Then he sighed and put away his scanner. You are a fool, he said. But his voice was gentle. A brave, stupid fool. My sister says the same thing. Your sister is right. Do-hwan stood up to leave. At the door, he paused. For what it is worth, Park Taiho, I hope you survive. The galaxy needs more fools like you. The third week came. The fight was 3 days away. Vera changed the training. No more hitting. No more running. Now she taught him one thing and one thing only. You cannot beat Gruul in a long fight, she said. He is stronger. He is faster. His scales will stop most of your attacks. If you try to fight him the normal way, you will die in the first minute. Then how do I win? Taiho asked. Vera reached out and touched a spot on her own neck, just below her jaw. Here, the death point. Every Valkyrie has it. Their scales are thick everywhere except here. One precise strike to this spot, and even the strongest Valkyrie will fall. That sounds impossible. It is almost impossible. Vera's voice was hard. You will have one chance. Maybe two. If you miss, you are dead. If you hesitate, you are dead. You must strike at the exact right moment, with the exact right force, at the exact right angle. She spent the next 3 days teaching him that one strike. Again and again and again. She made him practice until his arms felt like lead, until his fingers could not close into a fist, until he could make the movement in his sleep. Too slow, again. Too weak, again. Wrong angle, again. On the night before the fight, Yuna came to see him. She looked thin and pale. She had not been sleeping. I am scared, she said. She did not try to hide it anymore. I know. Taiho took her hands in his. I am scared too. What if you die? What will I do without you? Taiho smiled sadly. You will live. You will be safe. You will find happiness. That is what I want for you. That is what I have always wanted for you. Yuna shook her head. Tears were running down her face. I do not want happiness without you. Then I will try very hard not to die. They held each other for a long time. Brother and sister. The last of their family. Holding on like they had held on so many times before, when they were young and scared and alone. When Yuna left, Vera came. Tomorrow, she said simply. Tomorrow, Taiho agreed. You have learned much, but Gruel is still stronger, faster, more experienced. The odds are not in your favor. They never were. Vera looked at him. For the first time since he had known her, something soft appeared in her eyes. Something almost like affection. You are a strange creature, Park Taiho. I have fought beside warriors from 100 species. I have seen courage in many forms, but I have never seen anything quite like you. Taiho shrugged. I am just a man who does not know how to give up. Yes. Vera nodded slowly. That is exactly what you are. And that is why you might survive tomorrow. Not because you are strong, not because you are skilled, but because you are too stubborn to die. She reached out and put her hand on his shoulder. Her grip was firm and warm. Fight well, Park Taiho. Fight with everything you have. And if you fall, fall with honor. That is all any warrior can do. Taiho looked up at her. Thank you, Vera, for everything. Do not thank me yet. Her fierce smile returned. Thank me after you win. That night, Taiho could not sleep. He lay in his bed and looked at the ceiling. He thought about his parents, dead so long ago. He thought about Yuna crying in his arms. He thought about little Lumi and her lucky crystal, which he still carried in his pocket. He thought about the arena, about Gruel, about Death Dot. Then he closed his eyes and let the darkness take him. Tomorrow would come whether he was ready or not. All he could do now was rest and hope that when the time came, he would find the strength to stand one more time, just one more time. The arena on Helix 9 was old. It had been built centuries ago, when the station was young and blood sports were common. Now it was used only for formal challenges. For matters of honor and Death Dot today, it was full. Creatures from across the galaxy filled the seats. They had come to watch a human die. Some came because they hated humans. Some came because they were curious. Some came because they had seen the video of Taiho saving the Irani child, and they wanted to see if his courage was real. The Korath warriors sat together in a section near the front. Their faces were hard and grim. Vera was among them, her arms crossed, her golden eyes fixed on the arena floor. The Irani delegation sat on the opposite side. Little Lumi was there, holding her mother's hand. Her eyes were wide with fear. She did not understand why the kind human who had saved her had to fight. And somewhere in the crowd, hidden among thousands of faces, Yuna sat alone. She could not watch, but she could not look away. Her brother was down there. Her brother, who had raised her, protected her, loved her when no one else did. The arena floor was simple. A circle of hard metal, 50 meters across. No weapons. No armor. Just two bodies and whatever strength they carried within them. Gruel entered first. The crowd went quiet. Even the Velthari in the audience seemed nervous. Their champion was a monster among monsters. 3 meters tall. Scales the color of dried blood. Arms thick as tree trunks. Eyes that held nothing but hunger and hate. He walked to the center of the arena and waited. His claws clicked against the metal floor. His tail swished slowly behind him, leaving scratches in its wake. Then Taiho entered. He wore simple clothes. Dark pants. A white shirt. No shoes. His feet were bare against the cold metal. He walked slowly, steadily, his eyes fixed on the creature before him. The crowd murmured. Some laughed. Compared to Gruel, Taiho looked like a child. A small, soft, breakable child. But Taiho did not look afraid. His face was calm. His hands hung loose at his sides. He walked until he stood across from Gruel, close enough to see the hate burning in those yellow eyes. Tiny human, Gruel said. His voice was like rocks grinding together. You should have run. Now you die. Taiho did not answer. He just waited. The signal came. A single bell, ringing across the arena. You all moved. He was fast. Faster than anything that big should be. His clawed fist swept toward Taiho like a boulder falling from the sky. Taiho dove to the side. The fist missed him by inches. The air from the blow pushed him backward. He rolled and came up on his feet, already moving, already running. The crowd roared. Gruul swung again. And again. Each blow was enough to kill. Each blow missed by less than a breath. Taiho moved like water, flowing around the attacks, never staying in one place long enough to be hit. But he could not dodge forever. He was human. He got tired. Gruul did not. The first blow that landed sent Taiho flying across the arena. He hit the ground hard. Pain exploded through his body. Blood filled his mouth. The crowd cheered for Gruul. Taiho got up. Gruul charged again. His foot came down like a hammer. Taiho rolled, but not fast enough. The edge of the foot caught his shoulder. Bones cracked. Taiho screamed. He got up. The Korath in the stands leaned forward. Their eyes were wide. They had seen this before. In the alley. In the training room. This human did not stay down. Gruul hit him again. A backhand strike that opened a cut across Taiho's face. Blood ran into his eyes. He got up. Again. Blow after blow. Taiho fell. Taiho rose. He fell. He rose. The crowd grew quiet. The laughter stopped. Something strange was happening on that arena floor. Something they did not understand. 9 times, Taiho hit the ground. 9 times he stood back up. Gruul was breathing hard now. Not from exhaustion. From confusion. From something that might have been fear. Why? He demanded. Why you keep rising? You cannot win. You are nothing. Taiho looked at him. His face was a mask of blood. One arm hung useless at his side. He could barely stand. But he was standing. Because I am not fighting for myself, he said. His voice was quiet but clear. I am fighting for the people I love. And I will never stop. Not while I am still breathing. Something changed in Gruul's eyes. The hate flickered. For just a moment, something else appeared. Doubt. Uncertainty. Fear. He hesitated. Vera's voice echoed in Taiho's memory. 1 chance. Maybe 2. If you hesitate, you are dead. Taiho did not hesitate. He moved with everything he had left. All the pain. All the fear. All the love he felt for Yuna, for Lumi, for everyone who had been kind to him. He poured it all into one movement. His fist struck the spot below Gruul's jaw. The death point. The one place where the scales did not protect. The sound was small. Just a soft crack. But the effect was immediate. Gruul's eyes went wide. His body locked. And then, slowly, like a mountain falling, he collapsed. The arena was silent. Gruul lay on the metal floor, unmoving. His chest still rose and fell. He was alive. But he could not fight. The nerve-clustered Taiho had struck controlled. Everything. Movement. Balance. Consciousness. All of it was gone. The bell rang again. Once. Twice. 3 times. The match was over. Taiho had won. Silence lasted another heartbeat. Then the arena exploded with noise. Cheering. Screaming. Aliens of every species on their feet. Shouting, crying, celebrating. In the Korath section, Vera rose to her feet. She brought her fist to her chest in a warrior's salute. The other Korath did the same. Their voices joined in a chant. A single word, repeated again and again. Vethkai. 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 Sacred brother. The highest honor their culture could give. In the Irani section, little Lumi broke free from her mother and ran. She ran down the stairs, across the arena floor, and threw herself at Taiho. She wrapped her arms around him and held on tight. "You did it," she whispered. "You did it." Taiho fell to his knees. He did not have the strength to stand anymore, but he held Lumi close and smiled. "I told you," he said. "Nobody is going to hurt you again." Yuna found him in the medical bay hours later. His wounds were being treated by Korath doctors. Their technology was beyond anything human medicine could offer. He would heal. He would walk. He would live. Yuna sat beside his bed and took his hand. She did not say anything. She did not need to. They just sat together, brother and sister, alive against all odds. In the weeks that followed, Taiho became famous. The video of his fight spread across the galaxy, just as the video of him saving Lumi had spread before. He was called a hero, a legend, a symbol of human courage. He did not want any of it. When the Korath offered him a title and lands in their empire, he refused. When the Irani offered him wealth and citizenship, he refused. He asked for only one thing: protection for his sister and the right to return to his work. The Korath granted his request, but they also gave him something he could not refuse. They declared him Vethkai, sacred brother to their warrior caste. The first non-Korath in history to hold the title. When Taiho returned to the cargo docks, his co-workers stared. They had seen the videos. They had heard the stories. But here he was, picking up his scanner, logging shipments, moving boxes like nothing had happened. "You could be rich," one of them said. "You could be living in a palace. Why are you here?" Taiho shrugged. "This is where I belong." Weeks passed. Life became normal again, or as normal as it could be. One day, a young Korath warrior came to the docks. He was newly assigned to the station, eager and full of questions. He found Taiho stacking containers in a warehouse. "You are the human who took 8 blows," the young warrior said. "You are Vethkai. You defeated Gruul." Taiho looked at him. "I'm just a guy who did not want to see a kid get hurt." The young warrior studied him for a long moment. His eyes moved over Taiho's plain face, his rough hands, his ordinary clothes. There was nothing special about this human. Nothing that explained the legends. And yet, "That is why your kind frightens the galaxy, Park Taiho," the young warrior said finally. "You do not understand what makes you extraordinary." Taiho watched the warrior walk away. Then he turned back to his work. Somewhere on the station, Yuna was translating documents, safe and happy. Somewhere else, Lumi was playing with her friends, growing up without nightmares. The people Taiho loved were alive and well. That was enough. That was everything. He pulled Lumi's crystal from his pocket and held it in his palm. It glowed softly, warm against his skin. A gift from a child he had saved. A reminder of why he had fought, why he had suffered, why he had won. He smiled and put it back in his pocket. Then he picked up another container and carried it to its place. Just an ordinary man. Just a cargo worker. Just a human being. And that, perhaps, was the most extraordinary thing of all.